Welcome into another edition of the AHSAA Podcast. I'm Caleb Brooks, and soon we'll be joined by Coach Tim Miller from Hazel Green High School, head girls basketball coach, fresh off of his fifth straight state championship. And then as well as Coach John David Smelser and Emma Smith from the Vestavia Hills girls basketball team who made it to the 7A state championship this year. Emma will be moving on and playing college basketball at University of Denver. She announced that on social media here over the last couple of weeks, and was a lot of fun to watch her play in the finals and watch her team, especially in that semifinal game. I don't know that there was anybody in the state that would have beaten them with the way that they shot it in the semifinal game this past year. And they had a great state championship game there with Hoover. And so I'm looking forward to talking with them. Coach Miller has obviously just, he's got it rolling there at Hazel Green. And it seems like they're just going to continue to keep it rolling. You guys heard on the previous podcast, me and Kyle Parmley mentioned a lot, until somebody knocks them off, they're going to be number one. They're going to be king. That's where Hazel Green is at. That's where Pisgah's at. Those two programs, until somebody can show that they can consistently knock them off. I'm talking about year after year, not just 1 year popping up and winning a championship and upsetting them in a championship game. I'm talking about consistently knocking off Hazel Green, knocking off Pisgah, and some of these programs. Plainview's boys have kind of entered into that realm. That's kind of where they're at right now. Coach Miller has just done an unbelievable job, and he's a great guy. A great person, and he's a fantastic coach. So looking forward to these two conversations, talking with Coach Smelser, talking with Coach Miller and Emma Smith, and we'll send it over to those conversations right now here on the AHSAA Podcast. I want to welcome in now Coach Tim Miller from Hazel Green High School, fresh off of his fifth straight 6A girls state championship. First off, Coach, thank you for taking the time this morning to join me on here. And again, congratulations to you and your program on your fifth straight state championship this year.
I appreciate it, man. It's been a nice ride, and I appreciate you having me on today.
I got to come up and visit with you guys. It's crazy to think it was pre-COVID when I came up here and talked to you guys, and we didn't even know what was about to happen. And I remember it was snowing up there. I'd not seen snow in forever, and it snowed that day in February. And, one of the things that really impressed me, I went back and told everybody, I just said, you can see why they've been as successful as they've been. Your discipline and the way that you run your program, but also just the way that your girls answer to you. You can tell that your girls know that, you're in charge and you have a good relationship. I can see that. I mean, y'all, you're friends with your players and y'all get along well, but they also know, hey, Coach Miller's the coach, and what he says to do, we're going to do it, or we know that we're not going to be out there on the court playing too much.
You're right. I mean, the culture we've built here the last, probably 6, 7, 8 years, it's paying off now. When parents allow me to coach, the way that I want to coach and allow me to push their kids, it goes a long way nowadays. You don't see that every day, with a lot of parents or programs or players. But my parents have allowed me to do that, and you're seeing the product now on the floor. Especially when I can communicate with the parent and get the most out of that kid. I mean, it's been a great culture. Not only do they, allow me to push the kids and get the most out of them we can, but they also are workers. They have to work the concession stand. They have to work clocks. Or they have to work the gate. I mean, it's something that's always going on. And here we are hosting these tournaments. We had the opportunity to host that national tournament, in the Christmas where you had the Webb School and IMG Academy. And anyway, we're hosting 3 and 4 tournaments a year. And that puts more work on the parents, especially when you host these tournaments, because if you want it done right and you want teams to feel like, hey, that was a great experience. I'd like to go to that, do that again. You got to put forth a lot of effort. But yeah, I mean, that and that is a culture that we built with the parents, and the parents get it. I mean, they get it. They understand it's an investment, and they feel like their daughter is not only, getting better on the court, but in the classroom. And these are lifelong skills that they're learning, that's going to prepare them for the real world. I got to give a little shout out to our administration, man, because the stuff that they allow us to do with these tournaments and who we play and If we need some help from their side, they allow us to do these things. Here at Hazel Green, and our admin does such a great job of allowing us to do those things.
How much does it help in the fact that, Hazel Green is a basketball school? I mean, it's been a basketball school. They care about basketball there. I've heard the story before about, there was a football coach there. Y'all were in the playoffs and there was a girls basketball tournament one night and everybody was at the girls basketball tournament and not at the playoff football game. And it's not it shows what is important. Each school has their sports that they take serious and that they think is important. How much has it helped you build that culture there and the fact that it is a basketball school and that people already really cared about basketball before you even got there?
I think we're a sports school. It whether it be because our girls programs are really strong here at Hazel Green, with volleyball and softball and girls basketball, they kind of feed off each other, and me and the softball coach and volleyball coach all kind of pick at each other as far as, who's going to do what this year with their teams, which is fun, but, the guys are out there. We're out there too, not knocking on the door. Football's kind of a roller coaster ride, what they got, but baseball's done well. Boys basketball, they got put out by Coleman this last year in the regional. Because they're right there with them. Neck and neck. So I don't know if it's so much of a basketball school, but it's a sports school that, we're all trying to play at the highest level, and trying to win.
Samai Steele named named Mrs. Basketball or Miss Basketball here in the state of Alabama. And, a lot of people, thought that was a good possibility that she was going to end up with it. I remember coming up there and talking to her when she was a sophomore and she was shy and didn't even want to do the interview. And it was fun for me to watch her over the last couple of years. You could tell not only just as a person, but as a basketball player, she gained confidence. She started to really take control and she was a leader of your basketball team this year. How fun was it to coach a girl like her and to watch someone like her really grow as a person over the last 5 years?
Kids like Samaya keep you in coaching, especially somebody my age and where I'm at now. Kids like that, because she really wasn't that good when she came in as a freshman. She played JV, and was okay, and then was thrown into that starting role her sophomore year because we had another young lady who tore her ACL. Well, it was a struggle for her sophomore year, but, she took the challenge on. She took it on upon herself. Hey, I want to be the best I can be, and allow me to push her. And parents pushed her, and and she's that one that, if I get to school at 6:30 in the morning, she's already here working on some shots or staying after, or if a teammate needs some help, with what they need as far as what their game is, that's her trying to help them. But watching her develop into the player that she is today is very heartwarming because she's the heart and soul of our program. She's a kid that's so humble, doesn't really realize the magnitude of what just happened to her in these last few weeks from the last month. And it seemed like she always showed up, in the big games, whether it was this year, whether it been Hoover or IMG Academy or the Webb School or whatever big school that we played or a big game, she showed up. And that's what good players do, and I'm so tickled pink for her, though. I went to bat for her, pretty good on trying to get her to win Miss Alabama basketball after the state championship game because I felt like she deserved it, because I just didn't see anybody else, that we played against that she wasn't the best player on the floor, and that says a lot right there on the kids that she had to play against.
No doubt. Y'all play the best competition in the state. You look at your schedule, you mentioned Hoover, you look at their schedule. There's a reason that y'all two ended up where you did, and it's because you guys challenge yourselves during the year. And just how much does that pay off? There was times where it felt like the other team was playing well against y'all at the finals, but you would look up and you're still up, 12, 14 points in the game. And, I have to feel like those games against the best competition that you guys see play a big part in you guys just, being able to get through some games, even when you're not playing as well against some of the teams here in the state of Alabama.
Ain't no doubt. I mean, Crystal Hoover, she has the same mentality of a lot of coaches that, hey, we want to play the best schools as many times as we can, trying to prepare them young ladies for those games in the playoffs, because you don't quite know what's exactly going to happen sometimes, whether you're going to be up 10, down 10, tight game, whatever. So you try to put them in all those situations you can during the game, especially adverse situations. I really want to, really want to lose games during the year to figure out, okay, what do we got to go work on? What do we got to do to get better? If you just keep winning, they think everything's hunky-dory. Well, no, you want to go play that team that's going to expose you on what your weaknesses are. So you guys can go back to practice and hold them accountable and show them, hey, this is what we got to do if we want to win games. And it pays off for us in the long run. I mean, it really does. I would give a shout out to we got a guys practice squad, man. Every single day comes in there and goes at them girls, and they make them pay for every mistake that they make, speeds them up. The athleticism the guys bring just helps our girls' skill level rise even higher, and especially when the football season gets over, we used to pick up them senior football players. Some of them are pretty good basketball. Some of them aren't real good sometimes, but they're athletes.
Yeah.
They're athletes. They jump, they run. May not be able to shoot or dribble, but they sure can run and jump, and take the basketball from them, the physicality of it. But yeah, man, we pride ourselves on pushing them girls, and they accept that challenge each day going to practice, knowing, okay, I got to go to practice day. He's fixing to be in my butt again, and that's how we approach it, and that's how kids get better.
You've coached the Division I level before, and how much is your practices like what is done at the Division I level?
Similar, we went and got a practice squad when I was at University of Alabama. Went to the rec center and pulled some kids, even some kids that actually that I knew, that were at high school players, really good high school players, and got them to come into practice. But it's real similar. You're always trying to find ways to challenge your kids. Trying to make them better, and whatever way that is, that's the way you do it, so I just feel like going against better players on a daily basis is going to make you better.
No doubt about it. We did a documentary last spring when we released it on Sammy Dunn and what he did at Vestavia, coaching baseball. And, obviously the big thing with them was the streak of consecutive single elimination games that they won while he was the baseball coach there at Vestavia. I think it was 37 straight. You guys are getting close to that now. I think what is this now 25 straight single elimination games? I think when you add up over the last 5 years, I think that's what it would add up to is 25 or maybe 30. It's right up there. I mean, how incredible is that to think about? I mean, when you put it, every basketball game's a single elimination. You guys have managed to win every single postseason game over the last 5 years. And that's not an easy thing to do. And, you guys go in as the favorite every single year, and people kind of go, well, they are but there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. And so when you do kind of put that into perspective, how impressive is it that your girls have been able to handle that and handle the pressure of being the top team in the state during all these single elimination games?
Yeah. I didn't even think of it when you said that. I didn't even realize that right there. You said whatever the single elimination, I didn't even think of it. But more of the pressure. There's pressure to a certain degree, but we try to humble ourselves. As I say, when they go to practice, they're getting beat.
Yeah.
And they go into games and they're winning. So it's a balance there of having some little success against them guys. And then the game is so much easier sometimes, the actual game itself, than what the practices are, which to me goes such a long way on the success that we have, but I don't think they feel the pressure to a certain degree. I mean, they want to win. Yeah. I think Samaya, she did tell me she felt a little pressure this year because, the previous 4 years, she didn't want to be the class or the senior class that did not keep it going. So she felt something like that, just, hey, it's going to be all right. Just play, I did have to talk to her a couple of times about that, but I think overall, we don't look at it like that. We just want to go play the next game, go to the next practice, see if we get better and just keep it moving.
When you look at the finals for you guys, you said it after the semifinal game. You said, my girls will tell you, and I'll sit here and tell you, we didn't play very well. We didn't play to our standard. Right. This isn't, that we were not very proud of how we played. That, to me, it spoke a lot, just because, like, you're winning a semifinal game and you're advancing to the state championship. But even the girls were sitting there nodding their head. They're like, yeah, we didn't play very well, and we're not going to accept this. And we're going to make sure when we come back for the championship game that we're not playing like this. And, we talked about your culture and stuff, but it does take the players buying in. And when they recognize that and they can see, hey, we're not playing well, do you kind of feel like that's when hey, I've got this where I want it? And my players really understand the standard that I'm trying to really get them to reach each and every year?
Yes. I mean, it each year has its own identity, as far as I would much rather have me a player-led team than a coach-led team. And then when they're handling it in the locker room or on the court, and I don't have to say as much, it's so much easier, as far as getting things done. If I got to be that big, bad, wolf every day at practice, it's draining on them, it's draining on me, and then they take responsibility from it. But yeah, I mean, there was several games, this year where we didn't play up to a certain way that we needed to, and they can recognize it immediately. Or they recognize it immediately at practice when we're not doing things the way it should be done. And then that carries over to the game, and they see it immediately, whether that be right after the quarter or a trip or at halftime or right after the game. They want to play to a certain degree, and they hold themselves accountable. And when they hold themselves accountable, they start holding each other accountable. And we got a good culture going then. And then the parent over there saying something on top of that. It's like, oh, okay. Well, somebody's got to show them a little love sometime.
In the semifinal game where you guys felt like you didn't play as well, did y'all feel like it was more so just y'all not playing well, or was there some stuff that the opponent did that gave y'all some issues that
I would think, first of all, we pride ourselves on defending, and we pride ourselves on preparing for that next game as far as what we're going to do defensively or offensively. Well, defensively, we had too many breakdowns. A player missed this assignment or missed that assignment, and it carried over. And I think they got into the 50s on us, if I recall. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of, we normally don't do that. I mean, you look at the last, 7 or 8 years, we've been holding opponents, somewhere around 30, 35, 40 points, and they got up in the 50s on us. And that bothered some of the girls, and they knew it immediately. We missed some block-out assignments, we missed some charges assignments, we missed some squeezes assignments, and they just knew they could play better. And I think that's where they were going with it, because we scored a bunch of points, but it shouldn't have been that way, and sometimes, we can't, sometimes the officiating sometimes then dictates some of that, but we always go around. We can't control that. We can only control what we can control. So you got to go do your assignment. But some of that officiating in that game allowed some of that to go on. I thought I can't remember the little girl's name for Park Cross, and she was a little better than we thought.
Yeah, she was good.
Alexis, and she could get up and down the floor. And she'd find creative ways to shoot the basketball. And it was a little more, little dicey as far as sometimes where we squeezed and how we helped, but yeah, I mean, but that's the game, you got to adjust and recognize what's happening and recognize how officiate's being called, recognize how she's, which strength she has, what you're trying to take away. We sometimes you got to make adjustments on the fly. And we didn't quite make adjustments in that game like we needed to.
I mentioned to you, it felt like in the Oxford game, especially, like there was times where they would have 3-4 good possessions in a row. And we were sitting there on media row going, man, Oxford's playing all right now. They're playing with them. Then we'd look up at the board and it's, 44-30. And you're sitting there going, man, it feels like Oxford's playing really well, but they're down by 14 points right now. And what did you guys just do so well in that game to get yourselves a big lead and then just really kind of be able to maintain that throughout most of the ball game?
Well, I mean, we try to play to our strengths, and we got to some of our strengths in that game. Oxford did such a good job of jumping past the lanes and really trying to spread you out, so you got a little more one-on-one situations, in that game where, somebody could get a one-on-one and try to get downhill to the rim, or leave Leah one-on-one on the block, and get it to her so she can make a strong move. Just playing to your strengths as many times as we could to put our girls in situations to be able to score.
When you look at Coach Bennett and her team at Oxford High School, I mean, what impressed you about their group? And do you feel like that's now a girls program that we're going to be seeing there in Birmingham consistently?
I think so, for what she's built for this quickly. I mean, she's done it pretty quick and done a good job. I think her kids have bought into to defending, because you go back, we were watching their regional games, and defense won those games for her. And I thought she did a unique job of something we didn't see all year, as far as changing her presses on the fly. So you might see a jump trap this possession, and the next time you might see a zone press, and the next time you might see a half court trap. It was unique, and it was the day before we drove down to Spain Park and practiced. We got there, 12, 1 o'clock. When you look up, it's 4 or 5 o'clock. We'd have been 3 or 4 hours practicing, trying to prepare for it, and it got to be a long ride. I was a little worried about our legs a little bit on Saturday, because we had such a long practice trying to prepare for that stuff, because it was a lot, and when you have to prepare for a long period for that team, then that team's doing something pretty well offensively or defensively.
Your team's been in the situation before. I mean, do you feel like just it's their first state championship game, the bright light? I mean, do you think that played into a little bit of them not playing as well early and you guys being able to take advantage of that?
I don't think so. I mean, kids are kids. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. You don't know sometimes with that. But I mean, they did first possession, boom, it popped a 3 right there in front to start the game, 3-0. I mean, so I don't think so. I mean, it was more of our strength and their strength and execution. I think her team needed to be able to press and get some points in transition, or get some points off the press. And you just didn't get that a lot against us. You're going to come down and work it in the half court and be able to get to your strength with your players and be able to score. And she got to some of that, like you said, 3 or 4 good possessions, and brought the score back in to maybe around 8, 10, 12 points right there. I mean, that's how the game was, and just as long as we can handle that pressure and handle the press and make them score in the half court, I thought we had a good chance.
You guys were at UAB last year, and then back at Legacy this year, and kind of compare the two for me. How different was it being back at Legacy, packed out, normal feel, compared to last year where it was obviously very different?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: it was crowded. It was crowded state championship day, and you looked in that arena, man, it was packed. So that was a great feeling. I'm glad for it to be back normal like that. UAB was a great place to play. It's right there, boom, right on top of you. But I was happy to be back in the Legacy Arena, and just liked everything about it. The locker rooms are now a little nicer, and just that atmosphere. And man, when I looked up one time, I saw the whole bottom. I think it was hall 4, and you had people all up top.
Yeah,
it's like, my goodness, man, this thing is rocking.
Did you get a chance to look around and really see the renovations that they had done and really check and soak in the place? What did you think about what they had done there? And, you mentioned the locker rooms being nicer, but just the arena itself, the new coaches suites, where all the coaches were and all there up there. I mean, it's nice. I thought it was great. If they're going to spend that much money, you better do it the right way. And I felt like, they did it the right way there in Birmingham.
I do. I like it, and I guess they had to get it up to par for be able to host the college men's regionals or women's, whatever. They got it. They got it where it needs to be. I like it.
Did you enjoy the intros? The lights going out, the spotlight and everything. That was different. And I thought, for the girls and for the guys, just for all the kids, that's for a lot of them, that's going to be the only chance they really get an intro like that, like a college, like an NBA intro into a game. And I felt like that really gave that type of atmosphere during the starting lineup intros of the state championship games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the high school association is doing a good job of trying to promote our student athletes, and that's another good way of, hey, let's spotlight them. let's spotlight them for getting here. Let's put them on a pedestal, for this right here. But yeah, man, I think each year they're trying to do something a little bit different to help our student athletes. I loved it, for both squads, even the semifinals when they named everybody steps out, and all that's just such good stuff right there, man.
And as you mentioned, you have girls that, they don't play a ton. They don't get out there all the time on the court, but they're on the practice squad and they contribute during that. And I mean, I think that's a great time for those players to get recognized and to, for everybody to see, hey, it's not just these starters that were on the court and the ones that play that were a big part of this. So they'd be pushed in practice, like you mentioned, and these other girls play a big part in helping get this team there.
There's no doubt about that. No doubt whatsoever, and having their name called out like that on the loudspeaker, man, it says volumes, for her parents, our program, the school. Hey, man, yeah. I mean, yeah. That's why sometimes you, as a coach, you hope you can get up, you get everybody in.
Yeah.
Sometimes it don't work out like that. But I mean, it's stepping on that floor, and and then we can use that as motivation. Hey, don't you want to get back to that floor again and get out there? Let's get back there again. Yeah, I want to show what I can do on that floor. So it all plays a part.
When does your focus, how long did you really take to enjoy the state championship, soak it in? And then when did you start going, all right, let's start getting prepared for summer and let's start, planning out next year and trying to go do this a sixth time?
Well, our spring break is usually a week or two right after that state championship, so we usually took time off, take our spring break, and then we come back, we try to start getting their bodies ready for the next season, and we start talking about, after spring break, we start talking about, strengths and weaknesses that on each one of them that we got to start individually start working on, and what is their goal and what is our team goal for next year and what is your personal goal. And we took maybe 3-4 weeks, and then starts back in the weight room.
For Samaya, obviously she's moving on, going to play Division I college basketball and get a good opportunity there. And for her, what do you look at with her? What is she going to have to work on the most in order to now be successful at the next level? Yeah.
So she and I are already started working on that. So she and I had the opportunity to go watch Alabama A&M play Alabama State this year. And you could see the game's a little faster, and she really needs to work on offensively off a ball screen, and the shot clock. She's played a lot of shot clock in the AAU, just not in high school. So the shot clock and playing off that ball screen when the shot clock gets down less than 10 seconds, reading the pick and roll, whether she's stepping back, shooting, driving on the post, reading the switch, feeding the post, all that good stuff off that ball screen. And then she needs to work her left a little bit more, because she's strong going right. I mean, strong, but left, she needs to be able to go left the same way she goes right. And that kid has already embraced it already. Yes, sir. I get it. I see it, so yeah.
That's all you can ask for. Mm-hmm. You mentioned the shot clock. I mean, what are your thoughts on the shot clock and do you like it? Do you not like it? How do you feel about it?
I go both ways, so the years I've got a really good team that can score, I don't care about a shot clock, but the years that my team is not as good offensively, I don't want a shot clock. That's the way I look at it, but I could coach either way with it. I could coach with or without it. I know I hear all the other coaches talk about, hey, you'd have to coach more with the shot clock. Well, sometimes you got to coach more without a shot clock, because of what personnel you have. But I guess maybe in the long run, preparing the kids for that next level with the shot clock, it probably would help them in the long run. But for more personal reasons or what you have talent-wise with your team, it depends on what you have, whether you would want it or not. But like I said, I've been coaching long enough now. The teams I've had, some teams I remember beating, Sparkman in the regional finals, 23-22, and it's no shot clock, because we got a little lead, because there's no way we had a team that could run up and down the court with them. We couldn't, if we did, we're going to get beat by, 20, 30 points. We got a lead and we held the basketball, and we wound up winning the state championship that year. So, but then you got a year where, like when Marissa Snodgrass graduates, we're averaging, 55, 60 points. Well, shot clock can happen all day long. We're shooting the basketball quick. It fluctuates, on what personnel you have on your team. But I guess later on now, I probably would like to see the shot clock, strictly because it'd be different for me as a coach.
Yeah, something new.
Something new, because I know I can slow it down. I know I can do that. I know I can speed it up if I needed to, but coaching with that shot clock, getting the kids to understand, what kind of shot we need to take, at a certain time on the shot clock.
You guys didn't have a summer going into last, the year before this state championship, going into your fourth state championship. You had it this year. What kind of difference did you see that make for your team during this season?
Huge, because we had a couple of transfers that came in, and throw them right into the fire. We practiced, I think, twice, and then boom, we're in a play day. We hadn't worked anything as far as what we needed to defensively, got a couple of offensive sets, and then you throw them in the fire, and then go back to practice and work on it. It's huge in the summer as far as player development, getting your team ready on what they need to see themselves for the season.
So are you one, you would rather go play games in the summer than have a bunch, like you would rather play more games than practice dates in the summer? Is that how you try to approach it?
It's a mixture. I need to be able to play games so then they can see the mistakes and then go back to practice for a day or two, work what we need to work on to correct those mistakes, and then go back and play again. Play a couple of days, go back to practice for a day, and then go play again. It's a happy medium there where they're continuing to learn how to get better.
Do you have a certain amount of games that you like to play? Like, I've had some coaches that go, I just really want to play 15 to 20. And other than that, do you try to monitor that, or you just, hey, I'll go sign up for how many play dates we can, and let's just go play some basketball, and then we'll practice when we're not doing that?
Yeah, I try to shoot. Well, for me, like up here, I'll have a host of play day, and then Coach Capri over at Athens, she's been at James Clemens, she'll bump up next to me. We'll have a couple of back-to-back play days, then have a couple of practice or two. And then I always go down to Hoover and Spain Park. They play back-to-back days down there. So I guess what I'm saying is strategically, I'm not going to play 5 days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really not going to play 4 days in a row. I'm going to play a day or two, maybe 3, get a practice, may get a day, half a day off, maybe, and get the legs back on them, and then go play again, then practice again. I don't have a set number of games. I'll probably average somewhere around 20 to 25 games a summer. It's going to be, more than 15, but less than, 25 or 30, somewhere in that. That's just the range, because you got your 3-week period there. I don't mind playing 3 or 4 games in one day. That doesn't bother me. Because, so it's a running clock, in a play day. So really a play day game is like a regular half a game during the season. So, we play 2 games in one day in tournaments now. So during the season, so that doesn't bother me. But no, it's something where trying to get them to understand, hey, we're going to play right here. We're going to make mistakes, and then we're going to go back to practice and work on that and then go play again so you don't make those same mistakes again.
Do you treat it any different, like when you have a veteran team coming back compared to when you lose a lot of seniors and lose a lot of experience? Do you treat the summer any different with those type of groups, or do you try to just go about every summer the same way? Same way, man. When we're trying to get better as a team, and then what they got to work on individually. We're always going and playing the same teams in the summer. A lot of times it's the same teams in the summer, the same teams are going to play during the season, especially the better ones. And then some of us will have some teams that come from out of state that will play in the summer also. But no, everything's treated the same. Even if it's a veteran team coming back, it's still the same. What's losing a player like Samai Steele now, and you've mentioned a couple of others that y'all lost over the last couple of years. What is kind of the key for next year's team when you look at it right now? How do you kind of feel about the makeup of next year's team, and who, do you feel like there's going to be a couple players that are going to have to really step up their game in order to kind of replace a player like Samaya? Yeah, because when you're losing Samaya, you're losing the point guard who's balls in her hand probably 60-70% of the time. So that's the big key we got to solve. But 4 starters are back. Mm-hmm. Which, that we had 2 seniors that came off the bench that were, 2 of our better defenders. So trying to get the ball handling,
situated first, and then figuring out kids have roles on the defensive end, because we're losing not only Samai, but we're losing 3 really good defenders, and now we got to have the younger girls to come in. Okay, then we start getting you ready for this right here to be able to defend and figure out what your role is. What is your role that fits the team? What are you going to be able to bring to the table? Because you ain't going to go out there and shoot the basketball every time you touch it. It's not going to work that way. We're going to put you in a situation where it's going to be a good shot for the team, and you got to go defend. So that's what we got to figure out this summer.
Well, Coach, really, really appreciate you taking the time to jump on here and join me here on the AHSAA podcast. And again, congratulations to you and your program on your 5th straight state championship this year. And really, really looking forward to seeing the work that y'all put in this summer, this off season, and seeing the product that you put back on the court again next fall.
Hey, man, I enjoy it, man. It's always a pleasure being on here with you. It's always a good thing if you got me on here. That means we must have won.
Yes, sir. No doubt. Well, you have a good one, Coach. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
I want to now welcome in our next guest here on the AHSAA podcast, Coach John David Smelser from Vestavia Hills High School, as well as Emma Smith from the Vestavia girls basketball team. Emma just recently committed to University of Denver and will be continuing her basketball career at the University of Denver. And Coach Smelser and his group just got to the state championship this year and played in a fantastic 7A girls state championship final this year. And Coach, first of all, thank you for taking the time to join me, and also just congrats to you guys on what y'all were able to accomplish this year and just having such a great basketball season.
Well, thanks for having us on. I think you do a great job with your radio network, and I think reaching out like this to getting us on, it's putting. We're getting to get out, putting our name out there a little bit more because of people like you. So we're very appreciative just to have the time to be on the show today. So thank you.
I came by and visited you guys during last basketball season and talked to y'all, and y'all were kind of building, what this year ended up becoming. Y'all were getting to that point. You kind of could sense that something special was brewing. When you took over and started doing this, at what point did you really realize, hey, this is a group that we can really do something with, and we have a chance to be a really, really special team here within the next couple of years?
I think around January, our first year, we started kind of slow that first year. We lost some games that we probably should have won, but really close games that we just couldn't get over the hump in some of them. And then we beat Hewitt in here in our place. And I think that's when we finally kind of got over the hump. You kind of saw that they started believing that, hey, we can win. And it just kind of carried from there. The following year, last year, I thought we had a really good season, and it ended in a just a heartbreaking way to a really good team that we had played 4 times, within a month. And just to get over that and then get back to work this year, with Emma, and we had a lot of experience with her sister Allie and Carly as well. We had a lot of young players that were freshmen that were, playing middle school basketball last year. So it was coming into this season, like I knew we had a chance to be really good. And it kind of all came together there this year with just great players and great leaders, and then young talent mixed in there. So it's been a pretty fun ride.
Emma, do you remember the Hewitt game that he's talking about where, you guys won that game and things kind of changed? And what do you remember about your kind of mindset that you had after that game? And then, could you kind of see the team just flip a switch after that win that year?
Yeah, I definitely remember it. I mean, I was a sophomore at that time, so we were still kind of getting used to like all the things that he was implementing and everything, and then just still getting comfortable around each other. But I remember like it wasn't even something on the court. It was like on the court and in the locker room. Like once everyone came back in, you could just tell that something had kind of changed, and we all knew that, like, we belonged out there.
When you look at this year, he just kind of talked about how you had some young girls on the team. You were obviously stepping into a senior role. How did you have to change the way that you led this group and just kind of your leadership style, knowing that you had some young girls that had no varsity experience coming up this year?
I mean, I definitely be more vocal. A lot of times I would lead by action, but I feel like this year as like a senior role, I definitely had to take more action in being vocal and just like encouraging the young players, because sometimes, you know, as players, you can get so caught up in your own head, and when you're leaders, like you need to be there to encourage the ones who haven't been there before. And so I think with like me, Allie, and Carly, being in that position, we all like love the position of being leaders on the team and just kind of being the voice from him and then to the younger players. And they were all the freshmen were really great, and they really always listened to us. You know, they were never ever thought they were better. They always like listened to things we were having to say because they knew we had been there before. So I mean, it was truly a team effort with everyone kind of bought in to all of it. But yeah, I mean, I had to change a little bit, but I mean, everyone else was really willing to listen and change as well.
You guys, your student section went viral this year for a video that they had, you know, during one of the boys' games, but they had a great crowd there for both your semifinal game and your finals games there in Birmingham. And when you have a crowd like that and you see all your, you know, people that you go to school with, your friends, and they want to come and support you, especially on a Saturday, you know, where there's a lot of things to do around Birmingham. What does that mean to y'all as players when you look up and you see that many people there supporting you guys and trying to help you guys win a state championship?
I mean, it meant a lot to us, especially because you could look at our student section compared to the others. Like we knew how many people we had behind us, and it wasn't just like a team thing. You know, we knew it was like our entire community was behind us. So I think that gave us a lot of confidence out in the court and to really try and go out and represent our school well. And I mean, that's just kind of the way that Vestavia does things. So we're thankful to be a part of a school and community like that. So it was just a great opportunity to showcase our school in front of the city and to just get our community involved.
Coach, when you look at the makeup of this year's team, you know, obviously a lot of the offense ran through Emma and, you know, she was the one that was going to be handling the ball a lot and she was going to be taking a lot of the shots. But how important were the other players and them kind of understanding their roles as well to help Emma to be able to kind of play that role of being the main scorer?
Well, I mean, I don't think we necessarily ran our offense through her. I think that she scored a lot within our offense. And the way we play, you know, we have really good players that they all bring something kind of different to the table. And I think that's what makes us so good is that, you know, Emma can do pretty much everything, but then we have players like Anna Towery who can just go by people and get to the rim. And, you know, like her sisters are just, she's a flat out shooter. And so we got a lot of offense, and we got a lot of weapons that they're different. And that's what helps us the most. I don't think that our offense is, I mean, it's a flow offense. It's positionless, so it's random. But within that, you know, they understand who needs to be taking the shots and who needs to be taking what shots and, you know, what their role is. And I think a lot of that, Emma got a lot of her points off offensive rebounds. So like, I don't think that necessarily we ever drew up plays like every possession and like get Emma the ball in certain spots. Like there was obviously times when we did that, but it's more of a flow offense that everybody's kind of got an opportunity to make plays and they got a lot of freedom to kind of do what they do. And I think that's what made us so good is that they did have that freedom and they did have opportunities to make plays. And like I said, they know who needs to be taking the shots and what shots, and she got a lot of them. But there was games where, you know, Anna led us in scoring and Sarah Gordon led us in scoring, Allie led us in scoring. It wasn't always just Emma, but, you know, like I said, they have a pretty good understanding of what each other's role is on our team. So I think that's what made us so good.
In the semifinal game, you guys shot the crap out of the ball. I mean, you know, you really shot it well from three. And did that kind of surprise you a little bit? You know, I hear coaches all the time talk about the depth perception and, you know, it's the biggest arena that they've played in most of the time all year. And did it surprise you with how well that y'all shot it in that semifinal game? I
mean, we played at Wallace State back in January. I think it might have been December. And we played at Jacksonville in January 3rd, and it was our best two shooting games of the year. And so like when we got into the regional, we kind of kept shooting it good, and those college environment, facilities. But it is different when you get to BJCC, and it's a lot different depth perception. And honestly, I mean, I didn't really expect to shoot it the way we did. But I thought, especially in the semifinal game, I think that was probably the best game we played all year. So yes and no. I mean, as a coach, when you get in those situations and those games, you want to really get to the rim and make free throws. And you think that's probably the way you're going to score your points. And when you're hitting threes, I mean, it's just like, especially with our team, when we're shooting it like that, it's going to be tough to beat us. But on the flip side of that, Hoover shot at like 80% from three in the finals. So, I mean, everybody kind of shot it well in that place. So maybe it was the renovations they did.
Emma, when you're having a game like y'all had there in the semifinal game where, I mean, everything's going down, and you guys were a lot of fun to watch, and just like seeing the smiles on your faces and just how happy y'all were, because y'all could tell that y'all were playing well at the time, and you just kind of get in that rhythm. How fun was that game to be a part of and to play that well on that big of a stage this year?
I mean, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed just like playing with all my teammates out there. Like, I mean, everyone shot really well. So it wasn't like one person, was doing all the work. So I think it was really fun for all of us to kind of share that moment together. And we were all just out there, and we realized, it's the first time we were going to make it. Near the end of the game, it's the first time we were going to make it to the finals in a long time. And I think that just like getting to have that opportunity, like I was talking about earlier, to represent our school and to just do it with each other, I think just really meant a lot to our whole community. And I think it just meant a lot, especially to this program and all the people that are going to play in this program in a matter of years. So, I mean, it was my favorite experience of the entire year. And I could probably say that's what most people would say out of the year, especially because it's just something that's so different than anything we've ever experienced, and something that's been gone from Vestavia girls basketball for a long time. So I think that it was just a really cool experience overall, and it was just super fun to get out there and play with some of my best friends.
Coach mentioned how last year was a tough way to go out when you guys got knocked out. And so how much motivation did y'all have as a group this season coming off of last year?
I mean, a lot. There was a lot. We had 3 seniors graduate, but I mean, most of the people that played this year, like 2 people that pulled up this past year were on the bench for like the regional games and stuff like that. So they got to see, and then a couple of the freshmen too. Then when they were in 8th grade, they got to see us all in the locker room. We were all really upset. We knew we should have won that game based on, the outcome of the games before that. But I think that he kind of touched on this throughout the season, but we all knew that we should have won it, but it was all mental, and this year I feel like we just had a lot better mindset going into games, and just having a lot of confidence and belief in each other and in our system. So I feel like once after we lost that game, that just like spurred us on from that moment, like through summer to the rest of the season. We knew that what we did that past year, we had to do something more to get over that hump, like when we lost that game. So definitely gave us a lot of motivation and really pushed us to just become a better team, but also become closer, because we knew that our chemistry would take us far, which is definitely one of the reasons why we went so far, is because of how close our team was.
For both of you, I had Coach Johnson on from Hoover last week, and she kind of talked about playing against you guys in the championship. That it meant a little bit more. It's Vestavia, it's Hoover, it's an old school rivalry. Did that matchup, did that make the championship game even more intense for y'all, knowing that, you're playing a school that's right up the road and is a long-time rival?
Yeah, I mean, I've only been here 3 years, so I don't really know that rivalry like Coach Johnson does. I mean, she played at Hoover, and I think back then it was very intense. And I think that football too, has always been a big rivalry. So, but I don't, like, from our perspective, or from my perspective, I didn't see that as anything bigger than it was. It's Hoover, Vestavia, and in my opinion, the 2 best 7A teams in the state playing, and that's how it should be. I know we saw a good game, but from my perspective, the rivalry part, yeah, I know that meant a lot to a lot of people. But for me, it was just another game.
What about for you, Emma?
I mean, I would say, we got to play them earlier in the year, and we lost a close game. But I feel like going into that game, I mean, at least I tried my best to try to just visualize them like without a name, across their jersey, because I feel like sometimes, like, we played in our Pensacola tournament, we did really well, and we're really confident against teams that we really didn't know anything about. And I feel like sometimes Hoover, just with their history with being so dominant in girls basketball, I feel like some people just automatically get scared by their name, and I feel like just going out there, trying to have no fear, going out there and just act like we were playing any other team was going to be the best way to approach that game. But I mean, it was a lot of fun playing them. And of course it is an old school rivalry, but I mean, I think it would have meant just the same if we were playing any other team. It just meant a lot because it was the state championship. So.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, you're heading to the University of Denver. And, I guess the one thing I want to ask is that is a long way away. And so was that something that concerned you at all? Or were you kind of like, hey, I'm fine with going somewhere far away and it'll be something new and just something different for me?
No, I've always wanted to kind of go somewhere a little farther away for college. I've always loved Colorado and been interested in it. So when we visited there the first time last summer, just as a school, I fell in love with it. And then I visited a couple weeks ago, met with the coaches, and we all talked, and then they offered me, and I ended up committing there. And I mean, I just love the coaching staff there and all the players that I've met already, and it just seems like a really good fit. I mean, it's definitely something that's going to be a little scary at first, but I feel like it's something that's going to, reap a lot of benefits over the years. And I feel like me getting out of my comfort zone right now is really preparing me well for after I leave college, and if I want to do something else, go somewhere else far away for when I work after. And I just feel like it's a good opportunity for me to go. And yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Tell me about getting to play with your sister and what's that like? I mean, I have two younger brothers, and we were 3 years apart, and then my youngest was 6 years younger than me. So we never really got to play on the same team. And so what's it like to get to be on the same team and to get to share some of the special moments that we've talked about with someone that you've always grown up with?
I mean, there's nothing like it, especially with a twin sister. It's like, even with siblings, like, I know it means a lot, but having someone that I've literally always grown up with, always played on the same team with, we've always just had a special connection on and off the court. So I've just been thankful that we've always grown up playing the same things. And just throughout the years, I mean, there's no one else on the court that knows me better than she does. Like, I'll just be thinking something and then she'll do it. So it's really just like a special bond that we have. And it was just really great to get to share all the moments together. Like, obviously having senior night, obviously everyone's really sad about that, but we could go home and be with each other and talk about it. So it really meant a lot. And then just, watching her succeed, she got a lot better over this past season. It just made me really happy to watch her, succeed in all those things. And I mean, it's been one of my biggest blessings through playing basketball is getting to play with her. And it's going to be tough, obviously, not being able to play with her anymore and her being so far away, but I think we'll be able to do it. So,
Coach, how important was their chemistry, their relationship with each other, their chemistry with each other in, what y'all did this year and, them being the seniors and helping to lead this group?
Yeah, I mean, it's invaluable to have, two really good players, but even better leaders and better people. It's not really about, to me, great teams are not always about, the people on the floor. I think it's more about what's in your locker room and what's, what makes up your team. And for them, I mean, they're both just incredible kids and, very smart, and they got great, qualities about them, that hardworking and leaders and everything you want, like as a coach, for your captains and your leaders to be, they have it. And, they are different in ways, like their personalities are not the same, but from that leadership standpoint, and like she was talking about, they just know each other so well, and that transfers onto the floor, like in practice and playing games and stuff like that. Where they're reading each other's mind. So it's kind of a cheat code, for us. But there was days where I had to break up a lot of fights up there, but I'm just kidding.
There's one game.
They're sisters. So there's sometimes when they get a little aggravated with each other, but they always, it's always out of love, and then they continue to play well together. It was never like a get mad at each other and then, I'm not passing you the ball. It's not like that. They're just competitive, and I think that has a lot to do with just their heart and who they are. So,
when you look at the team going forward now next year, and Emma, with you moving on, who do you look at as people that are going to be really important to step up, and kind of take some of what you did this year from a leadership standpoint and stuff? Like, who are you looking at that you feel like, hey, I'm counting on her to step up and counting on her to be that type of person for us next year?
I mean, I would say one of the leaders, like since she got here, has been Jill Gaylord, who's a freshman this year, who's going to be a sophomore. There's multiple players, that kind of keep everyone together, but she is one of those that ever since she got here has made a huge impact on and off the court. I mean, everyone loves her. She pushes everyone. She's super hardworking. And I think she just kind of sets a standard at practice, and in games for how hard everyone should work. And I think she's just like an example that everyone can look at. So even though she's really young, I feel like she is going to make a huge impact as a leader, as well as Sarah Gordon. I mean, she was quiet, like a lot quieter at the beginning of the year, but she really has been going to open up, and she got a lot better throughout the season, and she's obviously going to give them a lot of good minutes next year. And I feel like she's really going to develop into a really good leader. And then as well as Anna, who's, going to be a senior next year. She has always led, by great example, and is just like a great teammate. And I think that a lot of the younger girls coming up who haven't had much varsity experience are definitely going to be looking to her. So I'm really excited about, watching them succeed and watching them and where they'll take the team.
Coach, you posted a video of Emma the night before the championship game, I think it was, taking shots in the gym and doing that. How much do you think that video just says about her and her now becoming a college basketball player and all that? I mean, just what do you think that video really showed about her and the type of player and person that she is?
I mean, she goes above and beyond. I mean, like, we open the gym up in the morning times and it's available for them whenever they want to come shoot. And she's the type of player that she don't want to just come shoot. Like, she wants me to go teach her and coach her, and she wants to get better. And so I think a lot of that the night before is probably trying to get some of the nerves out, just being in the gym. But, they're seniors and they realize that was the last practice, but that's just who she is. I mean, I'll be honest, like, before about 2 weeks ago, she just wanted to go to school, and we had a meeting and I talked to her about, do you still love basketball? And she says, yes. And I'm like, well, they play basketball in Denver, right? And so 2 weeks later, here we are, and she loves the game, and that's who she is. I mean, she's going to go put in extra hours because she wants to be great. And I think that a lot too had to go with, she wanted it for her team and she wanted it for our community. And I think if you watch the game and watch her play, the passion she plays with and the heart she plays with, and not just her, but all of our team, they wanted it for each other and they want it for our community, and they're fighting as hard as they could out there. Just Hoover played a little bit better than us that day. But with that video, I think it's kind of a trickle down effect when you see your best player and the best player really that's ever played here late night getting shots up before a big game. I mean, that speaks to our sixth grade girls who see that, and I think that going forward you're going to see a lot of that in our program, and that's going to be our culture is from what she's left and the legacy that she's left. It'll be new faces, but I think we'll continue, the same identity with who we are and how we play the game. And a lot of that is going to come from, what she's done for us.
What is your assessment on Emma and what she needs to work on to be successful at the college level moving up next year?
Well, it's ironic you say that because she texted me yesterday and asked me to give her a list of things. I told her, foot speed, footwork, getting quicker. I mean, the game's going to be a lot faster. She's going to have to guard players that are quicker than her every game, you know, and even in practice. So first and foremost, I think you gotta get quicker. Got to continue to get in the weight room and get stronger. Everything, when you go from high school to college, everything just gets a little bit better, you know, and a little bit harder. But from a basketball standpoint, you know, her skill is good enough, and she's ready for Division I basketball. She shoots it well. She handles it well. She's got a great IQ. She's very smart. But I would just say, you know, the things she's got to work on and improve on are those things, just getting quicker, getting stronger. And then day in, day out of the grind of college athletics. I mean, that's a learned thing. Like nobody's really ready for that until they get in it and gotta do it, you know? So, but she's got the drive and the heart and the passion that it takes to be a college athlete. So I'm looking forward to watching her future. And Denver's getting a great one, and they're I don't know if they have the lottery out there, but coach might want to buy a ticket because she just hit the jackpot. So
Emma, what are you looking forward to most about, you know, being a college athlete and about being at the University of Denver?
I mean, it's just a new place, you know, for me to kind of make my name and hopefully do something great there. And this program is also kind of on the come up, and I feel like, you know, I've kind of done that before, you know, when I first started here, and I think it'll just be really cool to kind of start somewhere new and be there for a while and just continue to get better and make relationships with people out there. And I know that just like putting in that hard work and representing myself at a college level is going to be really good for me in the long run also. So I'm just really excited to continue playing the game that I love and getting to play for 4 more years and hopefully becoming, you know, a player that isn't, I mean, not unrecognizable, but, you know, someone that has really improved in all areas of the game. So.
Guys, I really appreciate y'all taking the time to jump on this morning and be with me here on the AHSAA podcast. And again, congratulations on a fantastic season this year, getting all the way to the state championship, getting to play on the biggest stage. It was a lot of fun watching you guys. And Coach, good luck to you guys next year. Looking forward to seeing how things go. And Emma, good luck to you as you continue your basketball career.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.
That's going to do it for us today on the AHSAA podcast. I want to thank Coach Miller for taking the time to join me here on the AHSAA podcast. I always enjoy to talk with him. I really enjoyed going up a couple of years ago. It was right before COVID. I went up around the Huntsville area, went to some schools up there, visited Bob Jones' baseball team that year. They were really, really good. Had like 7 or 8 Division I signees. But on that trip, went by and visited Coach Miller. I remember talking with Samaya when she was a sophomore, and it's just been fun to watch her grow up as a player and see the type of player and person that she's become. And Coach Miller just keeps things rolling, and you know, he does a fantastic job with his program and with his group there. And you know, he's just, it's incredible. I mean, I tell people all the time, we have a select few in this state that have been just consistent. And right now, when you look at Coach Miller, Coach Ellison there at Pisgah, you look at Ann Schilling down at Bayside Academy with volleyball and what they've done down there. And there's countless others. You know, the consistency, when you can win on a consistent basis. Mark Freeman at Thompson's another one right now. That's really, really impressive to be able to do it over and over and over again. And that's kind of where he's at right now with what he's doing there at Hazel Green. And then also want to thank Coach Smelser, Emma Smith, for taking the time to join me. A lot of fun talking with them. I enjoyed visiting with them last year when I went by Vestavia High School. You could see that they had something special coming and something special brewing. It could have been there last year for sure. I think they were a team that a lot of people felt like could have been there, but added a lot of motivation to this year, and they were able to get themselves to a state championship game. And I think Emma did a great job of really laying a foundation for what's to come with Vestavia Hills girls basketball. Her leadership, you know, Coach Smelser talked about there at the end, you know, her being in the gym the night before shooting and just setting that example of this is what it takes to be good. I think that's going to really carry itself long term for Vestavia Hills, and they'll look back at Emma as one that really kind of set the trend and really kind of helped set that culture there. So, you know, look, congratulations to Coach Miller, another state championship. Congratulations to Coach Smelser and Emma on just a fantastic year and doing what they did. Only one team wins it at the end. And, it's like we were talking about that with McGill the other day and Coach Murphy and Barry Dunning. Only one team wins it. But when you have a year like this where you are one of the final 4 teams and for them, one of the final 2 teams, I mean, it's a great season. It's something to be proud of and something that they'll talk about for a long time. It's going to do it for us today on the AHSAA podcast. We'll be back next week. Barry Dean from the ALABCA is set to join me. We'll talk about what he has going on. He has a huge event that he puts on in the summer down in Troy. So we'll talk about that event, how some of these baseball players can get involved with that, get signed up, get seen by college and pro scouts this summer, being a part of the ALABCA. And, should be a really, really fun conversation with him. And then also set to be joined by Logan Patterson and Coach Derek Wynn from Section High School, fresh off of a state championship there for them at 2A. And, a lot of people had 2 other teams that were the favorites all year at 2A. And, Section just kind of snuck in there, but they ended up dominating their way to a state championship. They were a lot of fun to watch. And so I look forward to talking with Logan Patterson, Coach Wynn next week, as well as Barry Dean on Tuesday's episode. But that'll wrap things up today. And we'll be back next week, as I've mentioned before, every Tuesday, every Friday. New episodes of the AHSAA podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You can find them there. Go follow our social media outlets if you haven't already on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just search AHSAA Radio Network. We will pop up on there, and you can keep up with everything going on in the world of the AHSAA.